We turn now to Vladimir Duthiers in Las Vegas. Vlad, what's the latest there this afternoon?
Rena, we have been so heartened to see this community coming together ever since the horrific actions that happened just behind me here at the Mandalay Bay, where that deranged, what President Trump called evil person decided to hone his sights on 22,000 concertgoers that were here to enjoy Las Vegas the way it's meant to be enjoyed, to have a good time, have some fun, listen to some music. We're just in front of the Mandalay Bay, and right here at my feet, Rena, we can still see the bloodstains of people who tried to escape from the gunman. I want to bring in Congresswoman Dina Titus. She's joining me right now to talk about what we've seen from the community since this attack has happened and what it's going to be like in the days and weeks ahead as people start to recover from this. Congresswoman, you were here in your district. This is your district.
That's right.
You were here on Sunday. When did you first learn that this was happening?
In the night, about midnight, we started getting the calls, and then we monitored it throughout the night because it's not very far from where I live, and you can just hear the sirens and just the horror of it.
One of the things that you and I were talking about, and it's something that I just mentioned to my colleague Rena Ninen back in New York, is how this community came together. And you said something that was really interesting that I think for a lot of people who have visited Las Vegas and have enjoyed their times in Las Vegas, but then returned back to their home cities or their home states, they don't really kind of think about that.
Well, that's right. People think it's funny that I represent Las Vegas. They say, well, no real people live there, do they? It's not real life. It's just an entertainment playground. But when you see something like this happen and the community come together, people were standing in line 6, 7, 8 hours just to give blood. Other people were taking those in line food and water. Everybody has come together to contribute. It's a shame something like this has to happen so that you realize just what a close-knit community this is.
And we've also spoken to the heroes in all of this, and that doesn't just include the civilians who helped their friends, their neighbors, and strangers get to safety, but also the police officers that we see behind us here that were able to very quickly get up to the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay. Talk to me a little bit about the training and how it goes hand in hand with the private security that is typically you find in the hotels here.
Well, as you focus on the horror, you can't forget the story of the heroes. And we heard lots of stories of just strangers pulling people into vans to get them in shelter, putting themselves over their body to protect them from the bullets. There were some off-duty police officers who were just there for the concert who helped locate the site of the shooter and get people out safely. So those are stories of real people. On top of that, we had a fabulous coordinated effort by our law enforcement, our first responders, the ambulances and the hospitals. They were taking care of people in parking lots. It was just like a war zone. But no place has better private security than the Las Vegas Strip. Highly trained, very much coordinate their efforts with our fusion center. So it was well choreographed. There wasn't stepping on people on their jurisdictions. They knew what they were doing. You can never anticipate an event quite like this from somebody shooting from 32 stories. But they handled it, and I think they saved hundreds of lives as a result of it.
And a lot of the survivors that we've spoken to say the very same thing, that if it hadn't been for the quick thinking and the quick work of these officers, perhaps more people would have been killed. And let's talk about the doctors, the nurses, the support staff at the only trauma center in the state, at the University Hospital.
Well, that's right. That's UMC. That is in my district. Actually, I was over there yesterday, and some car pulled up and said, where do I go to donate blood? But also Sunrise is a major hospital in the district, and they treated about 200 people in the emergency room for all kind of injuries, gunshots, shrapnel, trampling. It was just horrendous.
And finally, Congressman, I just want to ask you before we wrap this up, there is a bill that is before the Congress with regards to rolling back restrictions on silencers. A lot of the police officers tell us that they were able to hear and see the muzzle flash from the 32nd floor. If you have silencers, it becomes much more difficult even for the victims to run away because they don't know where the sound of gunfire is coming from. What do you think about that rolling back?
I'm opposed to that bill. I'm part of the gun violence caucus to try to get some measures done. I hear now the Republicans are pulling that. They may come with it later, but they even realize now is not the time.
Congresswoman Dina Titus, thank you very much, ma'am. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
All right, Rena, that's it from Las Vegas. Back to you.